better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch is brought to you by Nedbank.
It is 2 p.m. Central African time. It is a very good afternoon, and what a delight to have you join us on Business Watch again this week. Today, we want to watch closely what the Matsapa Town Board is doing to reduce the carbon footprint, which is made by local businesses. We will hear from Sihle Sihlongonyane. She's the Public Relations Officer at the Matsapa Town Board. We want to develop that story in detail with our in-house business journalist, Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla. On the second story that we want to watch on today's Business Watch episode, I'll be in conversation with our economist, Sanele Sibia, just to look at some of the efforts that are made by the Eswatini Public Procurement Regulatory Agency, just to, make sure that there's transparency in the procurement industry and, some of the efforts that are being done to ensure transparency. We'll hear from Vusumuti Matsebula. He is the CEO of ESPRA. We will then detail that story with Sanele Sibia, our economist. Our last segment, per usual, is going to be the market analysis with Nozibusiso Dembe. She's a treasury dealer at Nedbank Eswatini. For now, let's look at business news. All right, for our first story, giants in the export industry are advising that businesses with an interest in exporting outside the country, they should take time and understand the market, as well as to remove bottlenecks which cause the delays at the border gates if they are to be successful. The industry leaders shared the advice to businesses who will be interested in trading in the different trade agreements, which include the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Different sectors are convening lately to find solutions to growing the country's economy. We have asked those that have walked the path of exporting to other countries to give guidance to infant industries who will have interest in this exports journey.
As Montic, we started off by targeting the bottlenecks like at the border. So we've got a good export system, border declaration system. So recently we just got an AEO accreditation, which is a preferred trader status. So that also helps in removing the bottlenecks at the border. So we've got almost like it's a VIP or a diplomatic status now at the border. We are one of 3 companies in Eswatini. So there is a quick movement of our goods like at the border. That also helps because our trucks, they don't have to queue like at the border for hours. They just stamp their paperwork and go.
It's understanding your market. This will include things like the trade agreements that are existing between the 2 countries, because that impacts on customs duties as well. And overall that could impact on prices and your competitiveness on you selling your product to that country. Another factor could be the issue of logistics as well. You need to understand the dynamics of logistics in terms of ferrying your product, from your warehouse to the end user. There are a lot of implications involved. There are a lot of things that need to be done in terms of logistics, and understanding your product with, in terms of what kind of infrastructure you'd require to transport your product to the end user.
Business Eswatini's Chief Executive Officer Inathi Dlamini says financial institutions should reimagine and modernize their business lending processes in order to take advantage of the business sector.
Exporting overseas comes with its own risks, both in terms of foreign currency risks, both in terms of just trade finance risks. And we are very happy here that we have all the banks who are enriching our processes and thinking on how that we can do that safely. And one of the issues I was raising with them is the issue of cash flow management. I was mentioning something about their factoring products, which means them buying the debt from a customer, giving them the money, and then discounting it, or the discounting part of what you call invoice discounting, where actually now they offer a loan against your payables. So we are encouraging them to do that more, and also to teach the businesses of those services that are available, because I think all of us now are aware that international trade is just now a risky area, and yet that's where government is saying we need to. And it's good for us, by the way, because as we trade outside, then there's foreign currency coming into the country. When foreign currency comes into the country, our forex reserves at central bank, they get even bigger and bigger, especially if we become a net exporter.
Besides the African Continental Free Trade Area, Eswatini can export under the African Growth Opportunity Act by the United States of America, COMESA and SACU, amongst others. For Business Watch, Nelson Langamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
In an effort to ensure transparency in the procurement space, the Eswatini Public Procurement Regulatory Agency will be signing memorandums of understanding with different law enforcing entities, which include the Anti-Corruption Commission. Now, the Chief Executive Officer, Vusumuti Matsebula, says this is one way to regulate the procurement space, as it had been marred by corruption in the past.
Since assuming office, I think 2 years ago, what we've seen happening at the agency is that we've seen an increase in the compliance. In the sense that the PEs are submitting their compliance reports, but also above that, we also saw a number of the PEs and parastatals are now hiring procurement officials and also establishing procurement units, which now is improving the public procurement space. But also, in addition to that, we are in discussion with the Minister of Finance in terms of establishing and implementing the electronic government procurement system, which is going to be an end-to-end procurement system that is going to be more transparent and more accountable, and we'll know what is happening and when. And lastly, we also see, what we also see happening in the space is that public procurement now is a strategic position in most of the organizations. It's no longer just a functional position or a functional service, but now it's more strategic because it's able to advise the procuring entities in terms of what are we buying, who are we buying it from, the contracts management, and how much are we spending, and all those issues. Such issues like corruption and all would not be easy to see in the short term. However, with the audits that we're conducting, with the levels of authority that we're awarding, with the professionalization of the space, we want to believe that in the midterm we're going to start to see the differences. I'll make an example. Some of the ways we are going to see if corruption is decreasing or increasing is the arrest or recovery of goods that have been received through corrupt practices in the public procurement space. But if those agencies that are responsible for that are not able to do that and give us reports, we may not necessarily say we're seeing the difference. However, what we are doing is that right now we are discussing a new memorandum of understanding with the Anti-Corruption Commission. We are going to be reviewing a memorandum of understanding we have with the Eswatini Competition Commission. So we're also going to be engaging with the fraud department from the police service. So that way, that's when you're going to see in the mid to long term the changes going forward. But lastly, with our advertising of tenders on our website, also us taking it out on the newspapers, the access of information to anybody that can go on his cell phone, a smartphone, and try to check on the tenders. Now, we're able to reach more people than before, because if I didn't have an access to the newspaper, I would never see that tender document. So now you find that with the more participation, there is more competition, And like I'm saying, that is when we will start to see the decrease in terms of the corruption going forward.
Playing their part in reducing the carbon footprint by local businesses, the Matsapa Town Board will soon embark on a project to build a hazardous waste project. Now, the communications officer, Sihle Sihlongonyane, shared this when sharing the plans they have for ensuring Matsapa has a functional business environment. More on that after the break.
Hey you!
Yes, you. Have you paid your TV license?
Did you know that by paying for your TV license fees, you will be complying with the laws that govern television possession, in particularly the Swaziland Television Authority Act of 1983 and its regulations? It is a legal obligation.
Paying for your TV license can have a positive spin-off, as the money collected from TV license fees goes a long way in assisting Eswatini Television Authority procure appealing and relevant content to broadcast on the channel.
So now, these fees also increase purchasing of local content from independent producers, which helps ensure that the arts and film industry in the country is well supported thus far, ensures the creation of jobs for eMaswati. The payment of TV license fees goes a really long way in such endeavors as well as nation building.
A TV license costs 180 emalangeni per year per device, and for other accessories such as a decoder or njinja, it costs 50 emalangeni per device per year.
By paying for your TV license,
you will be doing the right thing.
Back to the program. Before the break, we looked at a story from the procurement agency, which speaks to the efforts that they are using to ensure that there's transparency in the procurement space. You know, the Eswatini Public Procurement Regulatory Agency has been signing memorandums of understandings with different law enforcing entities, which includes the Anti-Corruption Commission. Now, we heard from the Executive Officer, Vusumuti Matsebula, who has said with confidence that this is one of the many ways they want to use to regulate the procurement space, as it had been marred by corruption in the past. We want to, investigate and take a deeper look into this story with economist Sanele Sibia. He joins us via a virtual link. Mr. Sibia, welcome to the program. Really good to have you on the show today, discussing something totally different from what we normally discuss. The procurement space, as you listen to the Chief Executive, he's very proud of the fact that compliance has grown over time. But the biggest thing is that they are on a drive to professionalize the space. How important is that, taking into account everything that has been happening in this space?
No, professionalization of the space is very much critical. Uma ubuka the way things have been happening la kangwane, so bekude le ndlela yokuthi uma ukhipha itender ungihulumende, what needs to happen. So lokho bekuya ngekuthi le ministry le ukhiphako noma le development part le khiphako ngubani. So now really just rationalizing this and making the space ukuthi kube lula, kwadeke ukuthi na ufuna le tender uyakuphi, akufuneki ukuthi uze watibani. So that really assists quite a lot in terms of kosomabhizinisi kokuthi bahambe bakhona kwathi kokuthi nangabe sifuna kutenda risha kufuna siye kuphi, and also making sure ukuthi le procurement imeter ema-international standards. That is why so khanza ukuthi onke ama-entities sekanabo procurement officers, because there has to be a way that we ensure accountability and transparency in the procurement space, more especially now ukhuluma ngetimali tahulumende lekuthi imali temthelo imali tawo wonke lamaswati kuyafuna kube nendlela ukuthi sitawukulandzelela kanjani lokuthi yena lolo supply yako wati ngani lokuthi kunetender kuze ayithole, what were the processes, sive sonke sathi kokuthi ngubani lothule leyo tender.
Mr. Sibiya, indzaba lenkulu lengingasho ukuthi kuthiwe nje nakuthiwa ngwe akuyawusetshenziswa intuthuko yelive kwabuka ukuthi ke kunelinyeva lebesolo likhona lelingathi lidelay yona lentuthuko lekuyinkohlakalo, the corruption. We do hear that the SPPRA will be signing an MOU with the Anti-Corruption Commission. How much did we need this development to happen, considering all the corruption that has been, plaguing the procurement space?
Ngiyaqala nje ukuthi kubhlungu lokuthi kufuna kuze kusayinwe MOU kani vele Anti-Corruption Commission ikhonela lokho naye SPPRA sewafakelwa ukuthi atokhona ukumonitor imbanawo mechanisms of monitoring in but we see lokho ukuthi nabe ukuqhubeka ixhumanisa letinhlangothi letimbili leti, it's going to improve the accountability and make sure ukuthi if simthola umuntu lo corrupt, then AACC Anti-Corruption Commission ngiyoleta ukhona kuthatha bese iyo prosecutor leyo mfloyo. Should there be need for prosecution yet ngalesa the procurement entity yona ikhona lokuthi nje so maybe we'll buy you, we'll do this, we'll do that, but ukhanza ukuthi sekudela indlela ukuthi imali demaswati dikhona lokubuyela emuva tamde khona. So le MOU lena itawusita ukuthi kube nalesandla lesitawukhona lokubese sesibasitse kakhulu lesitawukhona kuhamba beyond the confines of the Eswatini Procurement Regulatory Agency kuze sikhona ukuthi we make sure ukuthi we hold people accountable for whatever they have done for social good in the economy.
Speaking of social good, another thing that is very, articulated by the whole world in terms of what is going to benefit Sinenja Sibantu socially is the issue of sustainability. And I am learning, just from, researching on the internet that on the 21st, which is going to be this Friday, it's going to be World Sustainable Procurement Day. How important is this day, just, addressing issues of sustainability in the procurement space?
Noko kumtoka kakhulu loko, and I think what we are seeing the SPPRA do right now is to ensure that our procurement space remains sustainable. That is why the process that it is transparent. It is important that we monitor budgets because that is how we ensure sustainability. But if we allow for prices to run rampant, if we allow for corruption to run rampant and the kinds of what says they are overpriced the commodities, then that results in an unsustainable space because what that does is it eats into the national budget, it eats into the budget. Eventually, if we are not monitoring that, we will end up with limited fiscal space to ensure that we are in a way able to procure going forward into the future.
The chief executive speaks, with a proud tone, some of the many good developments that have happened since he assumed office. And one of them is the fact that compliance has grown, particularly, from the PEs as they now submit their reports. Something that, of course, has been invaluable solokuthiwa kufuna yendeke but uproud Mr. Matsabula ukuthi i-compliance ingathi iyachubeka iyakhula engabe nje kusindlalela ukuthi bumcokwa bayo le compliance bungakanani Mr. Sibiya?
No, compliance is critical when it comes to the things about the procurement. Ngaloko kungukuthi it is one of the ways in which we ensure procurement within the public space remains transparent and accountable. So if my entities are not complying, then sesibabethe lendlela yokucheck le accountability nale transparency sengilapho utawukhanza ukuthi khona itender sekutawunikwa masilela ngiyabekisa nje ngoba wadi dlamini. But now if we if all entities comply, then the procurement entity or regulatory entity is then able to check on all of those book documents and make sure that the tendering process becomes an open and transparent one. Ukuze resources akhone lokuthi aspendeke kahle.
Mr. Sbia, thank you so much for your time. We'll go for a net break, but we're just hearing from Mr. Sbia on the exciting development of the signing of an MOU that will be signed by the Eswatini Public Procurement Agency with the Anti-Corruption Commission, addressing a lot of issues which include corruption, sustainability, as well as compliance and all the developments around that. Let's go for a net break. Fabrice Msonera sits down with Nedbank selling some of their products.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Hello and welcome to your weekly business watch. This is a segment that is brought to you by Nedbank Eswatini in cooperation with Eswatini TV to try to ensure that you as a viewer, you get updates on what's happening in the business sector, especially products that are being offered by Nedbank Eswatini. I'll be joined by Tenele Dlamini from Nedbank Wholesale just to give us the overview and the explanation that comes with the corporate business and the business service model. Welcome to you to the show this afternoon, Tenele Dlamini. How are you feeling?
I'm okay, thanks Fabrice. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Now, we talked about this off a line, but now we're having a conversation just to let the viewer know that these are the products as a Nedbank Eswatini that you're offering. Now, when you talk about the wholesale, what are we referring to in terms of the corporate aspect within the Nedbank sector?
Okay, thanks for that, Fabrice. So when we talk about the wholesale department, we're talking about the department that looks after your corporate and your businesses. We also have the agri department as well within our division, and they look after the agri clients, which can range from your smallholder farm holders all the way up to your large-scale agri businesses. Yeah.
All right. Now, this brings me to the main topic of today's subject. That is the corporate and the business service model. Now, the two terms have got a meaning depending to where you fit as a client or as an entity. Corporate and business service model. Take us through that.
Okay, so our business clients, in order to qualify as what we would call a business client at Nedbank, you would need to be making an annual revenue of 30 million up to 100 million.
All right.
I know it seems a little bit steep,
right.
but you have, your companies like some of your filling stations, companies in the manufacturing sector who would fall into this category in the transport sector as well. But now when we're talking about corporates, we're talking about an annual turnover of over 100 million. And I know that seems a bit alarming, and hey, that's a percentage of the country's budget. But we indeed have corporates in this country. Some of our manufacturing, some of our investment companies, some of our property companies, and even some of the supermarkets as well, exactly, your franchises, those fall into the corporate banking sector. And just to note, in the business and corporate, these entities are in both the private and the public sector. So we have public government parastatals who will fall into these categories, who are our business and our corporate clients.
All right. And not to expose the entities or companies that you're working with, but where is it large in terms of what you have? Is it do you have more corporate entities or do you have more business services entities?
Okay, so we have more business clients than we do corporate clients, because of course 100 million is steep.
Yeah, it's quite.
It is, but
for
you
a
know,
small nation,
it's a nice goal to aspire to, because ultimately at the end of the day, as a business, you want to grow. So we have more clients falling into the business space, and that means as well that our service model, we have more people who are looking after the business clients than we do the corporates, just because of the volumes.
All right. Next question, maybe just to, let's look at now first, where we are falling more as a country, where we are more active. As a business entity, you want to access your services as Nedbank.
Okay.
How do you assist me? Then after that, then we look at also the corporate entities. How do you assist them in accessing your services?
All right. So we follow a specific service model at Nedbank, because obviously we don't want our corporate and business clients to be going around trying to find out, how do I access services? Do I go to the branch? No. So our service model is what we call the client service model, which is your service team, and it is built with the client at the center.
True.
So this team is made up of business managers or corporate bankers. I myself am a corporate banker. And these are your experts who are outbound. We go to the clients, we go visit our clients, because we want to understand their businesses. And in understanding their businesses, we're able to tailor our solutions to best meet what their financing requirements are, because our clients want to grow. We also have we try to have an understanding of the industry as well, so that whatever solution we are offering you is tailored to your business life cycle, where you are in that life cycle, as well as the industry that you're in.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, this is Eswatini TV. If you just tuned in, if you're joining us, today's segment, we're just looking at the corporate and the business sectors. How is Nedbank being able to support, or rather assist both entities? But what is dominating at this point in time is that as the Kingdom of Eswatini, the business entities are more heavier than the corporate entities, because of the budget that comes with being a corporate entity and knowing the population of the country. So the business entities are more frequent to your presence. But now all these aspects that we're highlighting, be it corporate, be it business, they require funds when they want to run their day-to-day activities. So how do you assist them as Nedbank Eswatini?
Okay, I think just to take you back a little bit, in that service team, we are supported by our transactional banking team, which help our clients to implement their transactional banking requirements, whether it's your credit cards, your point of sale, which is your speed point. You see, when you go to a supermarket to swipe, that's us. Your online banking, as well as even being able to pay online. And the service team, that's the team that's in the office. Since we are out all the time trying to meet our clients, trying to understand our businesses, we have the team that supports us from a fulfillment perspective in terms of your service. Like if you're looking for a statement, or there's payments that you need to do. And then we have our credit team, which is where the funding requirements come in. So they assist and support us in fulfilling our clients' financing requirements. And today we're going to talk a little bit about overdrafts in particular, just to give you a sense of what it is that we do in the wholesale department at Nedbank.
You're taking me there, because actually I wanted to go there, that personally, as an individual that banks with Nedbank, I have an overdraft. I don't know if I should say that.
Nice.
But now we're not talking about individuals today.
Not
we're
today.
talking about business entities. We're talking about corporate entities. The dominating aspect, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are as a viewer, is that Nedbank Eswatini is more dealing daily with business entities, where we look at corporate side, but knowing the current financial status of the country, the corporate entities require more finances. But within the business entities, there's an issue of overdraft, because on a daily basis you want to, for instance, to extend your structures, your products and everything, so they require an overdraft. The process for a business entity to get an overdraft.
Okay, you're spot on, Fabrice.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, even corporates, need overdrafts.
Need an overdraft.
So maybe let me explain what an overdraft is,
Yes.
I think, for the benefit of the viewers.
viewer.
So an overdraft is what we essentially call working capital, which is the funds that you use to run your day-to-day operations.
Okay.
So that is your expenses, like paying for the telephone. That is your salaries and your wages for your staff. It could be your fuel. For example, let's say you're a transportation company and you need to be able to fuel. So those are the kind of things that a client needs to be able to operate and to make money. They need money to make money. So that's what an overdraft essentially is.
Yeah.
So what then happens is that a lot of businesses are on what we would call, I suppose, payment arrangements, where let's say your company, F Limited.
F Limited.
Yes, yes. So maybe now let's give a scenario of a
FM
situation
Limited,
where a client would need an overdraft. Let's say FM Limited, is that the name of going?
Yeah, Fabrice Musonga Limited.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's say you're in the transportation industry
yeah.
and you are supplying a supermarket.
True.
You're supplying them with cornflakes, beans, all kinds of dry goods. And you have to supply the supermarket every 30 days.
Okay.
But the thing is, the supermarket will pay you every 60 days. So 60 days from when you are raising that invoice, when you're delivering, that is when they pay you. So during that time, when you're not receiving the payment, you still need to run your business. You still need to pay your staff. You still need to fill your trucks to be able to go get the inventory that you are supplying to said supermarket. You have all kinds of operations that need money for you to continue to run and operate your business, and for you to even be able to fulfill your order with that supermarket.
Okay. Boss, yeah, just to make sure that we still in line with what you're saying. Remember, personally, I keep referring to myself when I open an overdraft, account. Is that it also goes to how much I earn personally.
Yes.
So now it's a business entity.
Yes.
We talked about, for instance, 30 million. So if it's a business entity that is making 30 million or that has, a sale of 30 million, how do you qualify the overdraft? Do you give me the entire 30 million, or how much is my draft based on the 30 million? We kept giving an example of 30 million, so that if there's someone out there who has a business entity that is probably making 10 million and he or she wants to apply for an overdraft, how much are you going to give him or give her?
So I won't be able to quantify it now in terms of exact amounts.
Okay.
But what we need, what we actually require to be able to see if we're able to assist you, we require your financial information. So that is your annual financial statements.
Okay.
We want your management accounts, which is basically a statement of your income and your balance sheet at least up to 3 months. We also want your cash flows. So your cash flows are your projections. So what do you think is going to happen in the next 12 months in terms of your business? To be able to determine and assess the amount which you require. It also depends on, going back to our example of your company, you have to supply every 30 days, but you're only receiving payments every 60 days. So we take that timing difference into consideration when we're looking at what your requirement, as well as your affordability. So affordability isn't just for you as an individual, there's also affordability in terms of our business and corporates as well. That is the kind of information that we need and the assessments that we need to make to be able to determine how much it is that we can give you for your working capital or your overdraft.
All right. Tena, before we round up, maybe the issue of sometimes there's an emergency, the duration of that overdraft to be processed, because I have, like you mentioned, FM Limited. I can't believe that at some point I'll be running an entity of that magnitude. But how it depends on the business, or do you have a specific time to say it's probably a Wednesday, by Friday midday or end of business, the overdraft will be processed? How long do you take to ensure that the entity is not affected?
Okay, it definitely depends on the business, because obviously our customers' business models, their financing requirements, as well as their financial information, they are all different. So it depends on the client, it depends on their credit profile, it depends on the information, it depends on your financial information, and it depends on your need as well. Because you see those teams that I mentioned before that are supporting us, like the credit team, for example, they are in the background supporting us in assessing and doing all of the things that need to be done, because at the end of the day, we are money experts who do good. And as money experts who do good, we need to make sure that we are lending responsibly to our clients.
All right. The issue, these are some of the things that business entities and corporate entities, they want to find out, is that there's an issue of also the payment interest. To say, I keep referring myself to what you said in the first time, that 30 million or 10 million. The issue of interest, to make sure that you keep me interested, that next time, once I've paid my overdraft, I can return. Where are we standing? Where are you standing as a Nedbank in terms of interest?
So in terms of the specific interest offering, it depends.
It depends.
Come talk to us,
Yeah.
and we will determine.
Yeah.
But it is worth it to mention that in terms of an overdraft, you only pay for what you use. So we calculate the interest that you have to pay on a daily basis based on how much you've used. So even if, let's say, I've given you an overdraft of 10 million to get your cornflakes and your beans to supply Denele supermarket, I won't be charging you interest on that 10 million. I'm charging you on what it is that you're utilizing, because during the month, you're receiving payments, so you don't need the overdraft as much. And then you have your expenses, so now you need the overdraft more. So it will fluctuate, and we charge you depending on what you use. So if for the whole month you've only used 2 million, or let's say maybe today you've only used 2 million, the interest that will apply today is for the 2 million that you've used today.
Oof.
So asgete, don't bulala, we're here to help you.
Yeah, all right. Now, as a viewer, wherever you are, it's all about your Wednesday segment of Business Watch. We're all about finding out what is Nedbank Eswatini is offering, where today's topic was about corporate and business entities. How do they get services under the Nedbank Eswatini umbrella? But now, I want to get to the last part where you explain to us where we can find you in terms of wholesale. As business entities, as a business entity. But how has been the response countrywide in terms of business and corporate entities? How are they responding to your services, and do you see the regular faces returning due to what you're offering?
Yes, definitely we do. We have clients that we have banked for longer than I've been alive, and that is because of the products and the services that we're delivering to those clients. We pride ourselves in understanding our clients' businesses and understanding what our clients need, so that we can offer them solutions that will meet them in the gap that we as the bank need to fill. But where can you find us? Well, most of the time my team and I are on the road, so you might find us wherever. However, we did just move to our new corporate suite at Matapa Lifestyle Shopping Complex in Matapa on the first floor. It's green, so we're very easy to find. You can find us there. But also, you can call our help desk and say that you want to be connected to corporate banking or business banking or wholesale banking. Either one will get you through to the right people. And that number is 3278 1999. But we also have a website, which is www.netbank.co.za. But for our corporate and our business clients, we recently launched a new corporate online platform, which we will discuss in later segments a little bit more in depth. But in order to access that site, you just go on to business.secured.netbank.co.za.
Beautiful stuff, because this is not the only platforms where you can find them. They also have on social media, it's at Nedbank Eswatini Street. So all the platforms, you can use them to ensure that you access the services that are being offered by Nedbank Eswatini. What a topic it was. What an exciting day once again. Tenere, your presence again. Wow, we are blessed. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I look forward to coming back.
Are you coming back?
I'll come back.
I can't wait. Thank you very much, Tane Zamini from Nedbank Eswatini, under the Department of Wholesale. We wanted to find out about corporate and business entities. What are the services, rather, that Nedbank Eswatini can offer for both parties, be it corporate entity, be it a business entity? What I've learned, what we have learned also as a viewer, is that majority of the entities we have in the country, these are business entities, but it does not stop also corporate entities for being present in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Stay tuned, because we are not done. Weekly segment is coming next week. We're all about, as Eswatini TV, in conjunction with Nedbank Eswatini, to give you the services that are being offered by your number one channel, Eswatini, channel TV Eswatini, and your number one bank in the country, Nedbank Eswatini. Until we meet again, have a lovely day.
All right, welcome back. Now, playing their part in reducing the carbon footprint by local businesses, the Matsapa Town Board will soon embark on a project to build a hazardous waste project. Now, the communications officer, Sihle Sihlongonyane, said this when sharing the plans that they have to ensure that Matsapa has a functional business environment. Let's hear from Sihle.
As a local authority for the town of Matsapa, we are firstly mandated through the Urban Government Act under Section 55 to ensure that we have a fully functional town that will foster investment and development within Matsapa. So there are a number of initiatives that we're doing as council, and part of them which are what we are mandated by law, and also other initiatives that we're trying to do as a town to ensure that we have investment. The town of Matsapa, like any other towns, usually has challenges. One of our challenges is the issue of, maybe I'll start with the traffic congestion issue, which we have tried with the assistance of the Royal Eswatini Police Services, whereby we're doing a short-term mitigation initiative to try and resolve that. However, we do have plans that are going to be communicated well in the near future of trying to solve or permanently solve the issue of traffic congestion within the town. Maybe to also add that as the town grows, there's a greater need for more improved roads, road infrastructure within the town. So what we're trying to do currently through our next IDP, Integrated Development Plan, which is going to begin in the year 2024 to 2028, we're trying to have more focus on road infrastructure improvement. Because Matsapa is a unique town, it's a town that has a lot of heavy vehicles moving in and out of the town. So our roads needs to be very what word I'll use, very strong in a way to be able to handle those heavy movement of trucks. So through our integrated development plan, we're trying to make sure that we have more durable roads that we're going to try and construct in the next coming 5 years that are going to assist us in terms of having more durability in terms of our road infrastructure. Also, we have a upcoming project called the Hazardous Waste Project. So currently the country has companies that are producing hazardous waste as in their production. So the challenge they have currently is that they do not have a place whereby they can dispose of that waste. Usually they used to go to South Africa, but that would come with a lot of cost implications. So the town of Matsapa is trying to come up with a solution to that problem, whereby we want to establish a hazardous waste site, whereby that waste could come to the town of Matsapa and we dispose of it in the correct way. So that's an upcoming project that we'll see happening in the next few year or so, as currently it's undergoing the tender process.
Yeah, that's the communications officer from the Matsapa Town Board. He's speaking on the development projects that they have as aspirations and the ones that they have already on the ground happening in Matsapa. And I loved le migwaqo ngoba itsizile zabe uthi imigwaqo yabo bafuna ibe ngule mihle nesibonile emalambo ema-3 akavela akhanyisa nawe endlula nakhona kuMatsapa ngathi kusemini ngisho kusebusuku. how important are these developmental projects that are underway in Matapa and the ones that they have as aspirations?
Thank you so much, Sifiso. Ngidawucala nje ngekuthi lo munye utawucala tibude ukuthi hawu Nelsiwe wasuka waya kuMathapha why? Minister, the then Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Prince Simelane, launched the Integrated Development Plan. Lapho khona emadolobha abekubhekeke ukuthi alethe plans ukuthi how will they stimulate economic growth. So we went to Matapa, I'm sorry, because they are an industrial hub. So we wanted to see ukuthi engabe bona yini laba yendawo. Matapa nangbuka i-evaluation role yabo ithi lidolobha leli evaluator lila kubo 6 billion emalangeni kunesive lesiningi lesebenza lapha during the day 40,000 people labaya khona kuMathapha kanti ke bantu labasebenza khona nje kuMathapha they are about 30,000.
Wow.
So that is why I started kuMathapha. This is according to the annual report yabo ya 2021. The numbers could be more noma ngabe tehlile ngicabanga ukuthi tincane because we are still seeing we are still seeing development. So I was just following on loku lokushiwo nguhulumende ukuthi nani dlala inzima yenu ukukhulisa i-economy. So I started there because ngila khona sive semaswati sisiningi khona sisebenza khona.
And it's quite interesting, Nelly, I can assure you that 30,000 from 2021, namuhla that number is probably, it's more. It's more than 30,000. And I'm sure because, I mean, we do cover these developments that happen there. There are so many businesses, lovely, you know, of course, in light of, now, leave, but a lot of businesses, but he also spoke on something that is quite critical, particularly to affecting about climate change.
Yes.
In a hazardous waste project. He said it's a project Matapa kufuna abe clean and the waste project has to be there to ensure that how important is this project, particularly Matapa?
Kumtoka kakhulu Sifiso na ubuka nembukele ekhaya because Matapa ngila khona ema industries lamaningi akhona khona ukhanza ukuthi kulamalanga njena ngengeva khona Matapa town board ukuthi lapho khona besilahla this hazardous waste khona mhlambe kubo South Africa ngathi kuvaliwe lapho tinkampani betihamba dilahle khona. So this project itawusita ukuthi live leSwatini libe nendzawo lapho khona nilahla khona utawukhumbula Sifiso ukuthi kuma nationally determined contributions sithite kuma carbon emissions nathi we are hoping ukuthi by 2030 sibe sesireduce nga 5% with enough financing mhlawumbe sitawufika kubo 14%. So this is very, very important for the country ukuthi bonakale nayo idlala inzima live idlala inzima yalo ekutheni liqinisekise ukuthi liyayilandzela imigomo yakamhlabhlangene yekuthi reduce yona climate change.
Yeah. Matapa, way to go. I guess your conversation Sihle didn't end there. A couple of other developments that they covered with Sihle Agaswefe.
In the year 2022, we established what we call a Matapa Business Forum, which is a forum, a space whereby businesses within the town of Matapa meet with council to engage on a various number of activities or initiatives that they may wish to see being implemented by Matapa Town Council, and also council gets to engage with them on what activities they would want to see in terms of infrastructural development, roads, infrastructure and everything to sort of like foster that development within the town of Matapa. We also have other initiatives because a town has a number of regulations that need to be followed. So as Matapa Town Council, to ensure that all those regulations are fast-tracked and applications, for instance, building applications are fast-tracked, we have what we call a online application process whereby businesses can be able, or someone who wants to develop a particular structure within the town. I'm sure you'll see now, we have a lot of shopping centers that are developing within the town of Matapa. So to foster that, we have an application process that is online, whereby contractors or that particular person who wants to contract something can use that to apply online, and the turnaround time for that is usually shorter. So we're trying to ensure we meet timelines that they have in terms of construction or whatever they want to do. So those are some of the things that we're doing as council to ensure businesses within the town is thriving. What we also do have currently, that we've launched currently, we have a street addressing application, which allows businesses within the town to be easily located. So that's a digital application that businesses within the town can use to ensure that they are easily located by their clients, by fire services, because we've seen that sometimes there can be those natural disasters that can happen. So it's usually easier when we have a street addressing application for people to locate those particular businesses. In terms of the growth of the town of Matsapa, we still have enough of space for businesses or investments to come to Matsapa. As you may see, that currently Matsapa is around 2,000 hectares. And all those, normally I would say some of those parts within the town are still not utilized. So we are currently, through our leaders within the organization, are currently promoting for more investment within the town of Matsapa, especially because Matsapa is known as an industrial hub. So we're trying to promote more of those initiatives.
Yeah, the communications officer is speaking on the infrastructure development that is being put in place to make sure that indeed residents of Matsapa and otherwise Maswati nje onke nakafuna services like Matsapa ayakhona ukuthi ashesha watfole. How important is that? He has singled out a lot of developments, particularly like infrastructure.
Amcoka kakhulu Sifiso because siyamuva uteka indzaba yekuthi sebane app lapho khona utawukhona kushesha ulocate ibhizinisi lokho kutawenda ukuthi noma ngabe ufuna ukutrader kulamanye ama-businesses kuMatsapa ukhona kusheshe ufike noma khuluma ngemigwaqo ukuthi nayo bafuna ukuthi bayilungise. So His Majesty has emphasized the importance of infrastructure. So lokwendekako lana we are seeing ukuthi emadolobha nawo ayabuka ukuthi ngabe singalibambisa kanjani live sizazama kona ukuthi sikhulise i-economy ngekuthi nale migwaqo yethu phela njengoba esisho ukuthi Matsapa is an industrial hub, sikhulise sendesho ukuthi le migwaqo ingile ngiyo khona nalabo labafisa kutowenda ibhizinisi kuMatsapa bakhone kuhamba baphume bangene edolobheni malula baphindze bakhone nekulocate lawo mabhizinisi melula lalethwa ngilo live lalethwa ngiyo i-Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade lawo mabhizinisi.
Nelly, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Really appreciate your insights. Today, there was our in-house business journalist, Nell Siwe. You know, what I love about some of the developments that she's highlighting, and certainly that are being put into place by the Matsapa Town Board, is the Digital Forum. We have seen that SCCOM is also working on a diagnostic to make sure that it is comprehensive and it's easy for a Maswati to access digital services. As Bahlolet Magete, we connect with the Treasury dealer from the Nedbank Eswatini, Nozibusiso Dembe.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7#. Or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any Nedbank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewers' TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Yeah, 5 minutes before kubumbane insimbi yesithathu kulesikhathi sanyalo, we welcome Nozibusiso Dembe. She's from Nedbank and she's their treasury dealer. We look at the financial markets today. Welcome to the program. Good to have you on the show today. Last week now hamba wangshiya unginikete wangikhuthata wathi angiphangisa ngithengela amadenga ami ngiwafunako in the US because you know the markets there noma langeni lethu compared to the US dollar beli sijabulisa. What is our currency doing today?
Thank you so much for having me, Spiso, and good afternoon to all your viewers. I'm so glad you started there because I was hoping you did make the purchase last week. Because if you're making it this week, it's a bit more expensive than it would have been last week. We have seen the rand weaken quite a bit in the past couple of days, ever since last week, Thursday, when the inflation figures in the US came out. We've been seeing that US dollar weaken quite significantly, currently trading at 18.9501 against the Lilangeni, and the euro against the Lilangeni trading at 20.5400, and the pound against the Lilangeni trading at 24.0594. So we've seen quite a bit of weakening in the rand, and it's unfortunate if you haven't bought the sneakers because that would have been a good time.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. But I'm just curious, what is the data that's going to affect the market right now?
So we have interesting data that's coming out soon. Just today, this morning at around 11, we had the SA inflation numbers come out. The market was expecting that those numbers would be around 5.5%, but the inflation, the actual number was 5%, which in as much as it's a bit lower than the 5.5% expectation, it's still a bit higher than what the SOB targets, which is 4.5%. So that indicates that interest rates then are really expected to stay higher for a bit longer. The second,
you already have the graph. Okay, you go ahead. I wanted us to discuss the equities, but you were still going on with some of the data that's going to affect.
Yes. So just one more thing. It's going to be a very interesting monetary policy next week or two, because later today, we expect the Fed to be making a decision on interest rates in the US, and that is definitely going to affect markets as well. The expectation is that interest rates are going to remain muted for a while, but we'll see that once the data actually comes out. For other countries, they've had a lot of interest rate decisions already. Japan has had interest rate decisions, Australia, UK is coming up, but to bring it closer to home, we're also expecting an interest rate decision for Eswatini next week. So that's going to be interesting because we'll then find out if interest rates are remaining high, are they being decreased, are they remaining the same, and that quite literally takes money out of the consumer's pocket.
Last week, and again, maybe I'm hoping we'll have the graphic of the equities go up again, because my next question is really directly to that. Last week, all US markets closed on the green. And that was just last week, Wednesday. And that was just the US markets. What is the situation today?
So right now we have the equities indices showing S&P 500 tracking the performance of US equities, which is in the green, but rather marginally. This good performance is driven by companies that are in the energy sector this time, and it's on the back of an increase in Brent crude prices. We have our FTSE 100 also marginally in the green, mainly because of inflation data that came out in the UK, indicating that inflation is a little bit lower than what was expected, which shows some kind of inflation stability. The JSE, on the other hand, slightly, marginally low, but the JSE also indicated yesterday that they will be starting to trade environmental commodities, which is carbon credits and all of that. So that's going to be an interesting development in the market, because this is not currently traded in SA. So hopefully it'll give a bit of an uptick to the performance.
Let's look at gold. What does gold look like today?
So currently gold has been quite muted, currently trading at $2,157.48 per ounce. Brent crude currently trading at $87.25 per barrel, and gold hasn't moved much. We're expecting a Fed decision, as I mentioned earlier, so markets will be a bit apprehensive in expectation of certain data. So gold has been quite steady in expectation of that, and we expect to see a movement after the announcement. On the Brent crude side, though, you might remember last week Brent crude was a little bit lower than where it currently is, and it's ticked up quite a bit in the past couple of days after Ukraine invaded some of Russia's oil refineries. So this is expected to then possibly cause a supply issue in Brent crude and limit supply. So if supply is limited, then the price of Brent crude will increase.
Really interesting. I'm quite sad we've run out of time. I'm looking at the time. And we've run out of time. I really wanted to find out why the S&P 500 futures are quite low, and I suppose you would answer it's because of some of the Fed rate decisions that are being awaited. All right. Thank you for your time. Nozibusiso Dembe, Treasury Dealer with Nedbank Eswatini. Let's see you again next week, Wednesday. Have a good day.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch is brought to you by Nedbank.